Welcome to another episode of Video Editing Systems. My name is Devon, and today we're talking with Tony Wise from Wise Videography. Welcome back to Video Editing Systems. My name is Devon. I'm a remote video editor living in Argentina. And on this podcast, we talk about any kind of systems that we use to make ourselves more efficient and effective as video editors, content creators, filmmakers, business owners. Today we're talking to Tony Wise. Tony is a wedding videographer based out of Washington. We started following each other on Instagram and Facebook a while back, somewhere between 6 months and a year ago. And yeah, we slowly became friends across the internet. And we finally got to sit down and talk a little bit more in depth about a lot of the things that we usually just talk about on the internet, on the chat, on the messenger. And this was an interesting one. He flipped this thing around on me quite a bit. Usually I had a lot of questions to ask him. And yeah, he flipped it around on me a little bit. And we also just got so engaged with some of the things we were talking about. I didn't even get to ask him half the things that I had planned on asking him. One of the things I didn't feel like we didn't even talk about much of is where he was. And I feel like I should mention he didn't have the best internet connection while we were doing the podcast. He sent me he was filming himself and recording the audio during the podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify, it should sound and look good. But during the conversation, there were a few times where he would cut out. So I didn't hear, I asked him to repeat himself because I couldn't quite hear right. Sometimes I live in Argentina. I don't speak English that much, so sometimes my English gets weird. That wasn't the case this time. I did all right. But yeah, enjoy this conversation with Tony Wise.
Okay. Perfect. Ready.
Sweet.
Hello,
ready?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Oh man, you got. I was thinking about coffee and I didn't do it, but now I'm seeing yours and.
Oops.
It's early for you though, right? You're 10 o'clock in the morning right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And 4 for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 2 o'clock.
2. Okay, so you're still at least somewhat there. Once it hits about 3 or 4 for me, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm done. I quit.
Oh yeah. Well, coffee too. After like 3 or 4, it's like way past coffee time. I try to make that a rule.
Yeah, I was thinking you just said 11 o'clock, just staying up. You're like, okay.
Why did I do that?
Yeah. Are you a night owl or a morning person?
I'm sorry?
Are you a night owl or a morning person?
No, I'm very much a morning person.
Yeah.
After about 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm useless. At night, 7 or 8 at night. 7 o'clock, that'd be rough in the morning.
Yeah, I kind of figured because you're all active. You do your rock climbing and all that kind of stuff. So I figured, okay, if you're that kind of person, you're probably up in the morning. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm the only one of all my friends that does that, but a lot of my friends don't work much. I shouldn't say that, but I don't know. Like climbers we have hippie tendencies, and sometimes if there isn't much work, it's nice to climb and not think about work. And I like to be able to turn that off, but yeah, sometimes
we have to do something active because you're sitting down all the time.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like when before I came to Argentina 3 years ago. You totally flip this podcast. I'll tell my version of.
No, I'm super interested because like the fact you're in Argentina, I'm like, what are you doing over there? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, I moved here. I came here in 2011 when I was in college, and I loved it. And I stayed here for a while. I went back to Colorado in 2017. I was here until 2017, and I went back. And I worked doing a bunch of things like guiding climbing and teaching snowboarding and like carpentry, a little bit of video work. And then I had the idea, like I really wanted to go back to Argentina. I really missed it. And I realized I could sit at the computer. And at the same time, I was learning more about like training and like climbing well and doing things well. And I was like, that's brilliant. Like I can sit all day and let my body rest and recuperate and then train more. And I don't know if it's partially true, but it's like editing is taxing and sitting at the computer is taxing, like
which
more
is weird,
mentally,
right?
but it just like puts a stress on your body.
It somehow does. Yeah. I don't know how it goes. It also just, I mean, at least for me, it also blows out my brain. So it's like a lot of times at the end of the day, it's like I almost have no energy to do anything.
Yeah,
like, I feel like I just put everything into it.
Yeah, that's why I also love training in the morning, and like it also it also lets me sit still because if I don't train in the morning and I try to edit, like halfway through the day, I'm like, I got to go for a run. I'm losing my mind.
I need to move. I need to move. Yep. So do you do like more just a lot of like editing work like for people all over the place, or do you do a lot of filming? Like or is it half and half? Like, because it looks like you get more of like the consistent work or something. I can't really tell, but like, because I do mostly just weddings and some events here and there, but it's really the weddings is the bread and butter for me, right? And that's only in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it's I try to do mostly weddings. I do a lot more like corporate videos and other types of videos as well. I think weddings are just the best for work wise because it's just so consistent. And when I first started editing, I like editing professionally or like looking to edit professionally. I went down all the ways that you could go, like YouTubers, because I started out doing like quirky YouTube videos.
I did too.
Yeah. I think we watched each other, didn't we?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So that's where I went, and I was like looking down, and it's just a lot of YouTubers. They're either Mr. Beast and they've got like epic editors already, or they don't have the money to pay an editor.
Yeah, that's there's been so many people I've like met who are like, they were kind of interested, like, oh, I'd love you to, but the coffers are too low. I can't afford you. And I'm like, well, I can't afford to do that for super cheap. So
yeah.
At a standstill. And then again, the other people who are like, oh, I'd love to edit your videos. Like, yeah, I get like 30 inquiries a day for editors. I don't need you.
Yeah. I think it's so consistent. Like as a videographer as well, like I've had a few clients that I kind of like, they start, like, I think eventually they started doing, I can imagine like where weddings will wear on you, but they kind of like film for certain people that they're trying to like get money from these people. And I'm like, man, why don't you just do weddings? It seems so simple. Like it's just always constant demand. And like, there's other wedding videographers, but it's just like, as far as getting clients and getting money into your bank account, it just seems like the most straightforward way of doing it with a camera.
Yeah, I guess some people probably get stressed about it because my sister was a photographer. She went to like school for graphic design and whatnot, and so she was doing a lot of photography. But then she did only a couple of weddings and said, "Never again.
Yeah.
Too much stress. Like the first kiss, I got to get it." And I was like, I just don't get that. For me, I'm just hanging out and enjoying myself, and I never worry.
Yeah, I heard of that a lot. Like before I even got into this, I kind of like a lot of like when I edited the first wedding. I had a few friends that like are videographers, and they all like, oh man, you don't want to go do that. And like, I was like, all right, well, I'll keep trying. I don't know. So far, they're the only ones that can pay me. And no, I love it. And I love that, like, I like, aside from, I feel like I just went down dug myself into a hole of like, it's just so easy to make money, but it's also like a really good way of telling a story and expressing a story. And like, I feel like corporate videos are like, they're kind of pretty repetitive, or like I've done some for like dentists, and that like there's only so much you can tell as a story, but like really, every couple, there's usually something weird going on. So weird, like quirky. I don't know. I just love quirky things to put in the video.
Yeah. They got their own kind of shtick, and so you can kind of lean into it and have some fun with it.
All
the dynamics of their bridesmaids, groomsmen. So yeah, it's a little different every time. So it keeps things, fresh. But yeah, like the real estate or the corporate, they're like, we don't want you to, like, I worked for a guy who was a real estate guy, and he was, that's every time I tried to be like, oh, this is more of a, maybe it's a little bit risky, but it's interesting, and it could, get your video past all the other corporate slop, right? It could get you there.
Yeah.
But he just never, he's like, no. He's like, just point the camera, push the record button. That's all I want from you.
And and I think I actually just thought about that the other day, because I just yesterday I made a video that like, I haven't done this in a long time. I made a video for me, which is like, I usually I don't pick up the camera much anymore, like, because it just means I'll have more to edit.
Yeah. I hate that feeling, but I feel
like,
that because
I was pretty excited that
yeah.
I did one for me, and I thought about it, and I started thinking about how when you edit wedding films, like that video that I made for me, I was pretty stoked about it, but it didn't get likes or anything. And I saw how it like clearly didn't apply to the algorithm or anything, but I was stoked about it. And that's for that video, that was all that mattered to me. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, wedding films are kind of similar where you don't, a lot of times you're just sharing it over Vimeo. You're not even on YouTube or anything. Like you have your own private way of showing the video to the client, and you're not feeding into any kind of algorithm or anything. And it's just like whether or not they're going to like it and their family's going to like it. And there's there's certain things that trends and things that like wedding videographers tend to do, but you're like pretty free from all the hip social media trends or like real estate trends or.
Yep. Well, I mean, for me, at least at least in my contract, it says that I can share it via Facebook or, so I can at least get something out of it. And I think the only thing that really helps is when you make some sort of reel out of it, right? And you're like, oh, I'll make a reel that'll, catch people's attention, and then they can like that and maybe share that, and it gets me whatever. But I mean, fighting the algorithm, I have done that for years, and it just does not work. I've tried everything you can try, consistency or this, or, just nothing. It's never worked. And then I have like other people that I've known who they just comment on YouTube videos, and they have like 10 times the subscribers I do, and they have no videos. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? It's not going to work.
Yeah, I think it's goofy how it works sometimes. But like I've kind of like traded how much I feed into the algorithm for other clients, because like that's kind of like what my job was, to inform them of the algorithm or to follow the algorithm to a certain extent. And then I'll also like play with it more when I was editing my own quirky Took Adventure YouTube videos. But I would like, I don't know, like find out about certain trends that would change, or like when like the way that you're supposed to structure a YouTube video. And I'd start to play with them sometimes, and like it's fun to like try to structure things around it a certain way. But then at a certain point, I'm kind of like, this thing I'm not doing much by going viral with this thing. It's more for me. It's more an experiment. And honestly, a lot of times, like I remember when the whole idea was to like make the thumbnail before you do anything with the video, and just like make the video around the thumbnail.
That's crazy. I hate that.
And like I did all this like research, and I would do these things, and then by the time I'm ready to post it, I'm stoked that I finished the video, and I could care less like who is watching it. But that's like my videos, because it's like I said, it's like something that's for me, and I'm playing around with the algorithm, but it's not like the end goal is to actually get the views.
Well, I think that's where the soul comes from, because the people that are, there's plenty of people that can just, they play into the whole game, but then there's some people who they just make something that's artful and soulful, and then it blows up because it has that thing that people are starving for, because they're getting just pumped full of the same thing all the time. Like, I remember I made just some video, again, just for me. It was like, it was just kind of making fun of like the morning routine where you start the day and you're, drink your coffee, do your yoga, listen to the birds, all the healthy stuff. But then once you grab your phone and check the news, it just explodes. Your brain just like just goes crazy, right? And now you're stressed out. And the YouTuber, I think it was Jacksepticeye or whatever. I don't know if he's got
I don't know him.
Anyway, he's got like 30 million subscribers or whatever, and he just does this thing where he would just like watch random YouTube videos, and then he watches mine, and then suddenly I get like 50,000 views on that video, and I'm like, I didn't even try like that. I thought that video was actually worse than the other ones I've made, but that was the one that people resonated with, And so it's like and like you said, you just do it for yourself. It's like for me, whenever I make them, it's a form of therapy. I got some things in my head, and I got to get them out. And then it's just, now I can watch it and go, oh yeah, I was feeling that way, and that was my journaling, basically. And so, I think that you can do the algorithm thing if you're, for a client, or if you're trying to, that's the whole point, is marketing. But then if you're just really trying to get that creative spirit and that soul, then I think you gotta just do it for you, and just don't even think about it. Like I can't remember who was saying, but someone was saying something about if you were to isolate yourself away from the algorithm, from YouTube, from Vimeo, from all media, and just kind of sat still in like some empty place and just let your brain kind of reset, that would be the best way to make a film or a video or anything, because then it's coming just from whatever you want to share. There's
Yeah.
no meshing around with some other media that you're trying to copy, or algorithms. You're just like, this is what I really want to share. And usually that's the stuff that and I'm sure you've seen those kind of videos. We just go, something's different about this one, and I'm really, really resonating with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think every once in a while they kind of like, they break through. Like, you listen to Zach Bryan?
Zach Bryan, it sounds familiar. What is Zach Bryan?
It's like, he's like country, but the first time I heard him, Spotify.
I probably use some of his for wedding films, I bet.
What?
I probably use his music for wedding films, I bet.
Yeah. Well, he like, when I first heard him, I usually, like, for the most part, I kind of hate the music that the Spotify algorithm gives me. But like they put in one song by Zach Bryan, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And I thought I found some like super underground, because the first album was like just him and the guitar. It was very acoustic and very raw. And I was like, this is incredible. And I listened to it for like and I'm kind of isolated here. I live in the boonies, but I live in the boonies in Argentina, and Zach Bryan doesn't get here, even if it's in the city. And I remember I listened like nonstop for 3 months. I was like, Zach Bryan is like, this CD is awesome. And then I got to Times Square after I flew back home. I walked into Times Square, and there's like Zach Bryan all over the
Whoa. Oh, okay. I'm just like everyone else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it was just kind of like it gave me hope in humanity. Like, people, like, there are certain things that still break through. Like, I really like, I don't know, there's just certain, I'm a music nerd too. So like, there's certain, there's like there's like, if there's a musician who like, he's not a great example musician wise, but it was just like raw and just seemed like cool. But there's like, when there's nerds, like music nerds who actually break into like pop music and do well, like Bruno Mars or Alicia Keys, I feel like those are two of my like, or Pharrell and like Stevie Wonder. Like, there's a couple that are just like complete music nerds, and they like blew up into pop music. And I'm like, if you could do both, freaking awesome. Because like, there's a lot of music nerds who will never make it, because they just kind of do cool things that only music nerds like. But like, when you can geek out and make it cool for music nerds, but also make it cool and sell in like the algorithm of pop music, it's
right. Yeah.
It's
when
really
are you gonna
special.
do both? When you've made it, and I'm like, I kind of give up on that dream. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, but I don't know. I think I think that is wonderful. That would be what would you like? What's your definition of like success in your videography career? Like, what would be your like, oh, I've made it. I could just kind of keep doing this forever and I'm good. Like, that's it. If you say that you've already made it, then shut up.
No, definitely not.
I'm so happy. I'm perfect.
Actually, the other day I had a taste of this. I like, not too long ago, I like had this like dream that I was like, I don't know, like this like, I was like, I feel like success for me is like have an agency where I have other editors working for me and I cook for them. Like,
oh, I love that.
And the other day I had this one kid who's helping me out a little bit. He was over and I was cooking, and I was like, this is it.
This is a taste.
I'm almost there. No, I don't know. I want to, like, I've figured out over the past 20 years that I don't usually sit still with any kind of profession. And this is actually, I feel like video editing is probably the longest. I mean, I've been doing it really long, but like professionally, I'm going on 3.5 years, almost 4 years. Yeah, I think almost 4 years. And that's the longest I've done. I think the longest I've done one job. And so I'm ready for that kind of, like, I'm kind of thinking like, I would love to like have an agency that doesn't necessarily run itself, but is like somewhat self-sustainable. And then I can do other things. And I kind of think that like anywhere that I go, any profession and that I go for, like it's kind of important to have a social media presence. And like apart from just having a self-sustainable video editing agency, it would just be nice too to like have editors working for me for like whatever I want to do. If I want to go into like carpentry, if I want to film my own weddings, I don't do that
Ultimate
now.
freedom.
But if I was to film my own weddings, it would be awesome to like film and have an agency that edits for, but like anything else that I want to do, I'm going to need some kind of, I make climbing holds now. And it's literally something to get me out of here every once in a while so I don't lose my mind. Yes. I'm not like making money with it, but at the same time, like it's something that I'm going to need a social media presence for.
Right. Well, that's so interesting because like I've always wrestled with giving my work to anyone else. I just can't. I mean, one, like raw footage is just the worst. Like I worked for one company where they just didn't like the way that I filmed. They were saying there wasn't enough content to make like a 5-minute video. And I was like, there's enough content to make a 15-minute video. Like, I don't know how you're editing. And they had all these complaints about the way that I, did my films. They were just having just the worst time. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to work with other people who don't know my style because I film very erratically and it works for the way that I film. And so how do you how would you trust the people like that are working underneath you to edit your stuff? Because I've just been a one-man show and I've loved it. Every time I work with other people with those kinds of things, they either mess up the camera or the audio or something. And I just, I'm very much so a control freak. I kind of assume maybe you're not.
No, well, it depends. Like I said, it's kind of like I've as an editor learned to like when I edit my own quirky Took Adventure YouTubes, that's when I'm most in control because it's something that only I care about. It's not really, I'm not really making money with it. And I've figured out that like when I'm working for someone else, I'll add my own taste to it. And like the more I get comfortable with the client, the more I realize how much of my taste they want. Some people don't want their videos to be quirky and that's totally cool. Yeah, that's totally cool. And I know that. And I know like there's so much I could put in, but it's kind of like made that I kind of almost have an on-off switch of where like, I'm going to do this because it's important for me, or I'm going to do whatever you want because I'm making money with it. Like whatever you want. There are certain things that like, that I'm not a personal fan of, but like, I know that's what they want. So yeah, sure.
You're separating the art from the, hey, it is a business. This is
and it's not a total separation. Yeah. But it's just kind of like, I know where the limits are and I know when like, if somebody doesn't like a certain thing, it's like, yeah, for sure. And that it kind of helps a lot too, being able to hand off my work as well. The Essay's the guy that is helping me out now sometimes. He's doing a little bit of editing for me. He's probably editing this podcast. Shout out Essay. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
But it's also made it a little bit easier to like correct the things he does because like certain edits that he does, I can tell him, no, it's not going to work for this client. It's not necessarily certain things that I like, or it's also just, even if it is something that I like, there's usually a lot of whys behind why I want it a certain way. And it makes it a little bit easier to hand off work. It's also, I think the trick too is just like getting people who crush people who are better than you editing and like love editing more than you. It's tricky. I like editing a lot. Essay, I was like really stoked when he started coming to start working with me because I went through a lot of, I put up flyers in the I had a few different ways that I was looking for editors, and a lot of people messaged me. I would say like probably between 20 or 30 people messaged me, and like none of them were like I'd asked them like 2 questions, and I was like, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and and I get that all the time. I get plenty of people just reaching out all the time saying they're an editor. And I'm like, one, I don't want to pay anyone because I can do it myself. But
yeah.
So, God, that is, good, because that is definitely one of my biggest challenges, of being able to, some of my family members have said, some weddings are pretty standard, run of the mill. There's nothing really quirky about them. It doesn't really need the Tony touch, right? It can be done very standard, very traditional. And then the other ones, it's like, oh, this one's a little wilder, a little more interesting, a little more quirky, or thematic. And so the idea is that you find the editor for those kind of traditional ones, because they can't mess those ones up. There's nothing really to it. Versus then I just take the bigger ones so that I can offload while still, doing more work. Because I think there's like 25 or 28 or something like that weddings last year. And that was also during the whole farmhouse saga thing that I told you a little bit about. So I pretty much reached my limit, but I was like, but I still want to do more. I still want to get out there more and still do more work, but it was just too much to, like, I just finished my 2025 backlog like a week ago.
It was a long winter.
It was the farmhouse. That whole thing really messed it up. It was a disaster. But
oh man,
I think it'd probably be fine now. But I know the other thing that I get in my head about, which is that whole trying to make every film just like and every artist, right, does this. They just obsess and fixate and try and make it the best thing ever, or try and make it unique. Like every wedding, I'm trying to make it super, super unique, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just the same as the other one. They did the same exact thing. Their vows were from the one I met you were really special, and same exact thing. You're like, okay, well then just do the same thing then. That's all they want. They don't want fireworks in the sky, just relax. But then my stupid artist brain gets all upset, like, no, I can't do that. I can't remake a film the same way I remade the film. And so then I just sit there and obsess, and then I break my brain and I can't work anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you struggle with that, but I definitely just get in this mode where it's like, just edit, just do a thing. Stop obsessing, stop freaking out, stop getting in your head and thinking about all the weird things and then burning out for no reason.
Yeah, I think it's, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on. It'll come back. Hold on.
It'll come back.
I think just working through it is great for that. I edit a lot. I remember when I first started out, I'd go through that a lot, where I was like, oh man, this is the coolest wedding I've ever edited. Oh. I need to make it freaking awesome because this is going to be the first thing on my portfolio. Or it was like, finally someone would let me use their work on my portfolio, and I knew it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go crazy with this.
Let's do it.
And I would run into that wall where it's like, well, this isn't working. Well, this isn't working. And I think just knowing that you're going to have another one and just churning them out. And also, I guess I went through this as an editor, but thinking about it, I definitely had this as when I played music, I would I think it happens with any art where there's certain things that you're super proud of and you're like, that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then no applause. Nobody cares. And then you come up with you just hand things off and there, it's finished over, and people love it. And I've had that happen with some of the most epic weddings where I'm like, this is going to be insane. And I go super crazy with certain types of things, and I really try to replicate their style. And they can you, I don't know. They just it's just it's simpler. It doesn't.
Yeah. It is funny too how it's the same thing talking about when we were talking about the YouTube videos where you're like, this one's great or this one's the wedding that I put as the featured wedding, the wedding that I want everyone to look at, and then I ask my clients just out of curiosity, is there any of the films that you've watched of mine that really stuck out to you? It's never the featured one.
Yeah.
It's always the one that I didn't care about that I'm that
exactly.
was okay. Oh. And they're like, that's the one, just like that one. And I'm like, that one was from 3 years ago. Why do you like that one? So I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, that I have to try and remind myself. The thing that you think is going to be the portfolio builder, it's not. Just make a good film, move on. Just that's it. But God, even after like 6 years of doing it, it just still gets in my head, and I don't know what it is.
I think the trick too is just like, I think you have to draw a line, because like going back to YouTube, the way that you said you had the one video got a lot of views.
Yeah.
Well, I had my only video that really went viral was there's this kid from the States, an American kid. I don't know where he's from, but he moved to Argentina and he started speaking Spanish, very Argentinian, but very like Buenos Aires, which Buenos Aires is like similar to New York. It's just a big city, and like most of the country doesn't care too much for Buenos Aires. They're kind of like, they have this certain type of like, I don't know, just big city. I feel like it happens with like Paris or London. Like people from the big city, like they're tricky to get along with, kind of. And so this kid from my age, Dustin Luke, name drop. Go if you want to go watch him. Go for it. He did him. He taught his buddy from the States all these phrases that were like a New York phrase, but they were from Buenos Aires. Like he taught them all these very Argentinian things, and of course the kid never spoke Spanish, so like he couldn't speak any of it. But so I was in the exact same boat where I learned to speak Cordobés, which is like, if you compare, it's almost like speaking Texan. Like if an Argentinian was to go to the States and learn to speak Texan, that's my accent in Cordoba, kind of. It's just like it's the most distinct of all. Like every part of Argentina has their own accents that are very, very distinct, like a lot more than in the States. And Cordoba is the one, like you hear Cordoba, you hear 2 words and you're like, that person's from Cordoba. And
wow, that's so cool.
So that's what happened to me. And I like jokingly made a parody with I taught my grandfather these words in Cordoba. And the whole thing was like a spoof on what Dustin Luke did. But it got on the news. And that was my video that got like, I don't know, like 100,000 views or something, like way more than any other video that I ever did. And this was 2014. So it was before like, maybe 2004. It was like before kind of like everybody understood how the algorithm works and how like you need to just keep pumping things out. And like that Dustin Luke kid, he like kept influencing. He blew up and kept influencing and kept feeding like very mainstream, appealing to like all Buenos Aires, like that kind of content. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm going to make quirky climbing videos because that's what I like to do. And I wouldn't be able to like keep making more like videos of I'm American and I have a Cordobese accent. And, like, I play with it a little bit, but I can't like go down this like very mainstream rabbit hole that way. And I don't know, I've figured out that that's the way that it works. And I think like, in anything like that, you need to be able to like accept that, like, all right, this is what people like. I'm going to make it this way to a certain extent. If I'm losing my mind.
There's a balance of the, do I hate what I'm doing versus the, okay, people like this. It's like someone saying to Radiohead, play Creep. And they're like, fuck, okay. Like, this is the one that everyone likes. They don't want to listen to our new stuff. They want to listen to Creep. Fine, we'll play Creep again.
Yeah, and if you're really over it, you make a new band.
Right. If you're really okay, I'm kiboshing it. Yeah, exactly. But it's and that's I don't even know what that would look like for. What does that look like for like a videographer? What's the thing that you have to keep going back to? But then again, I guess I'm not big enough to have a thing that people say, do the thing.
Well, it's that like that video that you were saying that was from 3 years ago, and they want you to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because the other thing is I had it was. Oh man, I don't even know how long ago it was, but I used to make this thing called therapy session, which I thought the premise was pretty good. Basically, the whole idea was that I'd, have the whole 2 camera setup and I would, be talking to myself. It's pretty overdone now, but long time ago. And so I'd play the therapist who was like super cynical and just very like, I don't give a shit about this. Can you just fix yourself already?
Yeah.
And then I'd play some different aspect of myself. Like I'd play the, toxic masculinity, or I'd play like the more feminine side of myself or whatever. I'd play some sort of different aspect of myself, and I'd have the therapist cynically kind of fix him. And it was always like a good message. It was just done in, of course, a funny, cynical sort of way. And that was the thing that everyone loved. And everyone kept being like, yeah, keep more of that, more of that. And I'd make, I was like, oh, that's a lot of work, a lot of script writing and a lot of, and I enjoyed it. But that was the thing everyone wanted to see. And then I kind of shifted more into just kind of, more one-off things. But people kept saying, when's the next, therapy session? And I'm just like, right, that was my thing. And then everything started tanking after that. And it's like, right, that's right. That I should have just jumped onto that and done that forever. But I think even just like you, when you were saying that, whatever job you do, you kind of start getting bored of it. I'm the same way. It's like, I either have to innovate what I'm doing, get better at it, or I can't just stay the same. It's got to keep getting better. And I felt like with the therapy session thing, I was like, I don't know really where to go with it. I don't know how to make it even better. I don't know how to get deeper into it. And so I think that's probably why videography works so well, because the ceiling is infinite. It never stops, right? You either, stop at guy making just real estate, oh, here's a house, or you're, Francis Ford Coppola, right? There you go.
Yeah, but I feel like it definitely helps having that background. You go from now I remember your videos because I have the same thing. It's Tuca and it's Devon. This is Devon and Tuca es el que habla español. Yeah. So Tuca's the Argentinian me. Devon is the American me, and the two of them bantered between each other. And when I started Devon Dennis Studios, when I actually I was working as an editor for like a year or two before I made. I really actually didn't want to make my own Instagram because I didn't want to have to deal with a new Instagram. And then after I did it, it kind of really formalized everything that I was doing. And I made a when I made the website and everything, and it was kind of this new, it was this new entity as opposed to kind of trying to make my YouTube channel almost like my portfolio kind of type of thing, or having anyway. When I started doing the Devon Dennis Studios, and this who you're looking at now, because this isn't Devon or Tuca, this is the video editor. When I first did it, the profile picture was a nice shirt. It was all fancy, and I'm like, no more of this hippie climber garbage. No more Wayne's World videos. I'm professional. This is me. And now I've had to develop this new character that is more he's not I'm not the Devon Tuca Goobers, but it's still a little quirky. And I remember when I first started too, I was I had this shirt, I had everything this is going to be more professional. I turned on the camera, and because I was speaking in English, I just turned into Devon. I just immediately turned into the nerdy Devon that's from the YouTube videos, and
yeah, camera's on, let's go.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I was saying with having an agency that can edit for any other kind of company. I think that's finally making all of my work experiences have led into other experiences. I think one of the reasons I like wedding videos so much, and I feel I would be able to work as a wedding videographer if I wanted to, is because I taught snowboarding for so long, and I've dealt with people a lot, and I guided climbing a lot, and I know how to make people feel comfortable in really uncomfortable environments, and I have that kind of a background, and I think it's really helped out. And what I think having an agency to be able to edit for any other future project is just another level of making my prior experiences work for me more in the future.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because I was a server. I mean, before getting into all that stuff. Obviously, it was right around good old pandemic times.
You said surfer?
Yeah, I was a server, not a surfer. That'd be so sick if I was a surfer.
Oh wait, sorry.
Waiter.
Serve. Oh, I was so excited.
Sorry, I'm not that interested. I was just hanging 10 all the time,
bro. I love climbing, and that's what I do. But as far as watching content or watching any kind of competition, I'm the biggest surf fan. I'm not as much of a climb fan as a surf fan, and I just got so excited.
Damn, I could have been so cool there. You would have oh, this guy's awesome.
Oh man, we just took the podcast to a totally different direction.
But no, it's over. I'm just waiting.
Forget editing. Let's talk about Yago Dora.
No, yeah. So I was just a waiter and just a waiter. And so same thing though, you know, so many different kinds of people that you meet, people who you know, speak different languages, people with disabilities, and you have to kind of figure out how to work with all of them. So it's the same exact thing at weddings where it's like, sometimes I show up to the wedding and I'm very nice. Oh, pose like this. Beautiful, right? Very soft and easy, right? And other times I'm like, yeah, you look like a fucking piece of shit. Yeah, you do that, you know, just make fun of them and they love it. And so there's like a different personality for all of them. So that's the same exact thing. And I think what I'm hearing from you, what made me think of is that, you know, you apply that same logic to whatever film you're making, is that it's not me. This film is not me as, you know, as Tony. It's Tony as the professional. So don't take it so seriously or so, you know, magnum opusy or whatever, and just go, oh no, just jump out of yourself for a second, even though you are in PJs and a t-shirt and you really are the most authentic version of yourself. Jump out, pretend you're the guy who was goofing around at the wedding, and then give them that film. You know, detach it from yourself, and then they're gonna love it no matter what, and it won't hit so hard on yourself when you're thinking it has to be a, you know, a certain way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause for 1 second because every time that I'm like, it's been showing me for the past 15 minutes that my battery's low. And I'm like,
oh shit.
I think I can do it. And then like every time I was like looking for the break, this is the break. I'm going to go plug in a new battery.
Oh, well, this is now the break.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Sweet. Okay, I'm good to go. So let's we'll batteries back into it. But before we do any of that, I just want to give you an opportunity to shout out your website and your Instagrams and all that. Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, so it's Wise Videography. It's just Wise Videography for Instagram. I think it's Wise Videos for the Facebook page, because Wise Videography was taken for some reason. And then yeah, my website is literally just Wise Videography. There it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All my contacts, everything's pretty much linked together. So if you find one, if you find the website, you'll find it all. Like and subscribe.
Awesome. So the one thing that you left out that I like, man, we've been following each other and talking to each other for a while, and I thought we kind of like knew each other, and then like when I went to get ready for this, I was like, wait, where is he?
Oh yeah, I'm in Washington State.
Like sorry, where?
Washington State.
Okay, that's what I thought. Wait, so you're not in Seattle, no?
No. I've obviously been around. I mean, every time I go anywhere, like you know, out of Washington, they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" I just say Seattle, Washington. That's the only one that people know.
So you're close by?
Yeah, I mean, I've been Seattle a million times.
Okay, yeah, my sister just moved to Seattle.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It's got its own vibe. People always say there's a Seattle freeze, but you just have to, you know, poke through it. People are really nice. You just have to get through their cynicism.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I thought you were more like Midwest. When we were talking about the time zones, I was like, I'm positive that he's like Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. What's there to do there?
Yeah, and then I was like looking at the videos. I'm like, wait, no, there's no mountains in Wisconsin. What am I looking at?
Yeah, there's just forests and mountains and lakes and all this stuff here. I actually, back when I was like, I don't know, 20 something, 20 whatever, I traveled across the country for 2 weeks, and just me and my little red Chevy Avejo car, and all my possessions I could fit in there, including my dog. And I just spent 2 weeks traveling across the whole country, and I moved to South Carolina for a year, and then I did the same thing back and just kind of explored everything, because I'd never really, you know, seen enough. I'd been kind of grew up in a little bit of a bubble. So I was like, oh, it's time just to, you know, with very little of a plan, let's just fuck off across the country and see what happens. And then because I was thinking, oh, Washington sucks. Maybe things will be better when I move out and see other cultures. Then I went, never mind. Washington is absolutely the best.
I feel that. I did the same thing, except it was an ocean.
Yeah.
It was a hemisphere.
This whole country? Nah, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it here, but it's funny. There are things I'm from Pennsylvania, and there are things that I'm like, It's awesome. Like as a kid, one of the things that like really sticks out to me as a kid, I like was obsessed with the rainforest and
Oh
Brazil and
yeah.
like green and like just,
Yeah.
and I've been to a couple different countries, couple different places. And when I go back to Pennsylvania in the summer, I'm like, it's so green and lush and like, this is the coolest place. And like, Rio's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love Brazil and Brazil is really cool. But like, of most of the places I've been, I'm like, this is way more humid and like just green than like a lot of the places that I've visited. And there's so much wildlife, and yeah, Pennsylvania's cool.
So I mean, yeah, what is like? I don't know. And I'm pretty uncultured, unfortunately. Like Argentina, is it? I mean, obviously it's big, and so it depends on where you're at in Argentina. But I mean, is it? Are the summers like the 115 super tropical? Do you get like are the winters cold, or are they just moderate? Like, what does that
Not
look like?
not tropical. That's what really blows my mind when I go back home is the humidity, which in the summer I don't mind. I don't like the cold, which I wasn't made to be a climber because climbers like you need cold for uh, the grip.
Really?
Like you need friction, and so in the humidity you just
Oh,
slop
right. Yeah,
off
of
of the
course.
holds and stuff. So you need cold for the friction, but yeah, it's kind of it's drier here than I'm assuming Washington too. Like I know it rains a lot
It's
there,
yeah, but
but
it's not. I
does it
mean,
get pretty humid?
it's like it's not really that humid. I mean, yeah, more than like Arizona or something. But no, I don't really. Because
Yeah,
my mom used to live in Tennessee, and I would visit there all the time. And I also again lived in South Carolina, and I just remember just unbearable levels of humidity. So like it's got humidity, but you don't really. I mean, I'm biased, but you don't really feel it. Like even like the
yeah,
summertime, you don't feel the humidity. It's pretty just moderate.
yeah. So here it gets way hot. It gets to 110, 40 degrees. I think it's like
Uh,
107 degrees.
uh, but it's
So yeah, it gets
dry.
hot, and like in the city, it's drier. Yeah, it's not that humid. It's not humid like Pennsylvania. Like if I compare it to like Pennsylvania blows my mind. The cold too. The cold in Pennsylvania, that's the one I forget because I spent 5 years in
Mhm.
Colorado and it's a dry cold and it doesn't get that cold, but it's the perfect type of
Right.
cold. But like when I go back to Pennsylvania in November, I'm like, oh right, this is what I remember. You know what I
This is
remember?
some
Like
bone
I
chilling
played
cold.
soccer I played soccer and like I remember at the soccer games having my shoes untied being like that was like the worst thing ever because your fingers just hurt and like you'd be there like for a good 3 minutes tying your
Oh
shoes
God,
again
why?
while the
Just tie
game's
the
still going.
shoes.
You're trying to go as fast as you can, but your fingers don't move. Totally sidetracked, but yeah, that's what I remember Pennsylvania. And here it's definitely a lot drier. Um, I'm a little bit closer to the mountains, so like Córdoba. If we're talking about Córdoba, where I live, the city. I've spent one January in the city, and it was just unbearable. Like you would, I didn't have air conditioning, and like I would just like take the cold, like just only put on the cold water, take a cold shower, and come out, and like in 5 minutes you're just like drenched again in sweat and
Oh
like it's
God.
just so brutal in the city. Here it's a little bit nicer. This is like kind of like the problem in the summer here is that it just gets very touristy because everyone comes. It's a little bit cooler and it's like a
Ah,
pretty place.
touristy.
Yeah.
That's I guess, but yeah, there's always tourist areas though, right? I mean, you could always avoid it if you wanted to. Like there's right? Like there's always like a
Oh yeah. Well, I work all this in the summer. I like trying to, and it's nice here too because the houses are made to stay cold. It sucks in the winter because it's we don't have natural gas, so it's really tricky to heat the house, and it's tricky. Um, but in the summer, it'll be like 100 degrees outside, and I'm like in sweatpants in the house because the houses are just made. They're brick houses, and
oh,
they're all the
that's handy.
architecture is all made to keep the house cold. So it's nice to get work done in the summer. And then like during the week, I can kind of sneak out and go climbing a little bit more up in the. We've got like higher mountains, not mount like yeah, mountains. Um, but yeah, you can get out during the summer and like up into like two. Oh man, my brain cramp with the translation. Hold on, 2,000 meters is like 6,000 feet, I think. That's how high up They are, and that's where like the summer climbing areas here. Now we're like switching to in the winter we go to like the lower climbing areas, but we get up there, and like during the weekend I won't leave the house because it's just so busy with all the tourists.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, during the week you can still get up and
Yep.
yeah.
I try and avoid, because I get my partner used to live in Seattle, so I need to go and visit her, and she was within walking distance of Pike Place Market. I don't know if you know what that is, but Pike Place is like the place of Seattle for tourists, right? And so it's like, oh, it's all kind of fun, but like also, you know, if you're driving up there to go see her, you know, just the traffic was just aggressive. It's just, you're like, can't find parking, can't find anything. People are walking in the streets, and you're just like, oh God, no, why did I leave the house? I'm never going to do this ever again.
Yeah.
Never again. Oh, I had a question. It was popped in my head. Oh yeah. So do you do a lot of tourist weddings then? I don't know if because you were saying that like tourism is obviously kind of a thing. Like, are there a lot of people who do destination weddings in Argentina and then find you because you obviously live there?
No, I actually never even thought of that. No, I don't know. I don't know how many people would move here to get married or come here to get married.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. That's why I'm so curious about what the, you know, if there's like some place that people were like, oh, we gotta get married here, like, you know, Venice or something, right? I don't know if it has like the thing.
Maybe in the Patagonia, but that's far enough away that like it's not. It's far away, and I'm not a big fan. That's even more touristy, and like there's awesome climbing there, but it's just.
So
I love
it's
Cordoba.
touristy, but so, not for a wedding.
The first time I went like 10 years ago to the Patagonia, I went with a buddy from Cordoba, and he was like, just wanted to climb. And I like, the whole time I'm like, what if we just go back to Cordoba? Like, I really like Cordoba, even though we're in like the mecca of Argentina for climbing. But when I started editing videos, wedding videos, I thought about filming as well here, and I also kind of like wanted to film wedding videos like before I was doing the climbing holds, or like just as a way to get out of the studio and get out and like do stuff outside. And yeah, the economy, the way that the dollar works, it wasn't worth it. Like what I charge to edit a video is what I would charge for the whole kit and caboodle of a wedding video here. Like the whole planning, filming, editing, it would be the same as, so it was like more worth it for me to stay put here and like look for work online than it was to get out. And apart from that, it would just be like a totally different business. Like it's a totally different business structure and like a different language. Like my website isn't in Spanish. Yeah. No. It's not in Spanish. I've made a couple websites and translated a couple of different websites, but like I had to think about it. No, it's not in Spanish. Like and it would just be a totally different business structure if I was to film here, and it wasn't worth it. Rather make climbing holds and like not make money doing that.
So you film in, I'm trying to piece all this stuff together. So you film in the States for.
I don't film.
You don't film?
I very rarely film. I film every once in a while if I go back. I'm going back in Pennsylvania, and I have a few days that I'm going to be filming one wedding. But every once in a while when I go home, or when I go back to the States, I'll film for clients that I edit for. When I went to Colorado, I filmed a wedding for Jonathan Schroeder. He's been on the podcast, and but he had me film a wedding for him. But that's the closest I get to using the camera other than right now.
Like that's what I was trying to piece together. I was like, how much of it is editing? How much of it is in the
It's all editing. Yeah, it's like 97% editing.
Wow, yeah, because I'm just pretty much 50-50. I'm pretty much editing almost exclusively just my footage, pretty much, which is not great because I need more work, and that's why I was kind of curious of how you find that and also how it works, because I work for one guy who he kind of gives me a steady amount of sort of off the wall, interesting kind of stuff, but a lot of times he films it and gives me the footage, and a lot of times it's garbage and it drives me nuts because I'm like, that's not what I would have done, but that's just whatever.
No, that happens a lot.
But that's obviously the more steady stuff, especially during like winter time. You know, here it just gets cold and dreary and miserable. and very few people, want to get married because of the rain. There's some, but it's pretty rare. And so that's why I was like, how do I get more of that? Because there's a billion editors to compete against. There's from the whole world. It's a stay-at-home job, so of course it's going to be competitive as hell. I'm like, so obviously
Yeah.
I'm a step ahead because I have the website, I have the proof. But I'm like, how the hell do I even get a little bit of more of that? And how do I find something that wouldn't crush my soul? Because I edited a podcast for this guy, and usually he had very interesting guests that were like, one was like an ex heroin addict who ended up getting out of it and writing a book and becoming like this kind of public speaker for it, that's a fantastic topic, very fun to talk about. Or like, maybe even just like a senator, or usually big name people who are unique enough that their perspective is fun. So that was a good one because I was learning something while editing, 2 hours of shit because I have ADHD and I need to be interested or else I'm not going to do it. But how many, things are there to edit out there that are interesting to actually engage with, that don't, crush your soul or make it so you're so busy that you can't create the films that you want to create just for yourself, for your own, your own brain. Where do you even find that?
Yeah.
How does that work? And it just seems like a waste of time because people also don't want to pay the rate that it's worth.
Yeah, it is very, very tricky. Um, I always feel like I'm breaking through and I've still got so much more to learn.
Right?
But I will say that I've edited some weird videos. When I started out, I was just taking on any kind of video that anyone would pay me anything.
Well, do you have one in mind that comes like one of the weirdest ones you've had to edit?
One of the weirdest
Yeah.
ones? Oh man.
You're like, oh, he was an OnlyFans promotion.
I don't think he's listening. I don't think any of these guys are listening. I hope not. I had one that was just like, he could be listening. I'm sure he's well aware of what this was to edit. It was an engineering software tutorial basically. And I think it might have been like an AI voiceover that he made. And I had to like line up the mouse with what the AI voice was saying. And they were like 10, 15-minute long videos.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of challenging.
Yeah, that's up there. I'll let's leave it at that one.
Yeah, that works.
But oh man, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I had oh man. Should have had that coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was like, cut, coffee break.
No. Hold on. How much time do you have? Do you need to head out?
Oh yeah, we're probably got another 10, 15 or so. I got to get to this. Got to get to this
Okay.
edit. I'm a busy man.
Oh, it's back. It's back. I figured it out. I know what I figured. What I figured out when I started editing is like I said, I went down every kind of rabbit hole you could looking for work as an editor, and I like Fiverr. I think that job might have been one of the few that I got on Fiverr that I figured out pretty quickly. I wouldn't say very, like I probably could have figured out quicker that Fiverr wasn't a good viable option. But there's just a lot of like places that you can maybe find work. But one of the things that I figured out really, like I am proud of myself that I figured out pretty early on was that being online, I have a very good advantage that I'm American enough. Not all the time. Sometimes I get a little, but I'm American enough to where I speak American English sometimes. Sometimes I trip up, but I can speak and I have a face where like when you get on Fiverr, it's a lot of overseas work that and they're really cheap and they do really cheap work. Right. Like they don't do things well. Right. And I had to hire a few too for other jobs that I had, like hiring over Fiverr, and I figured out quickly that it was not a good way to do things. And so what I did early on to make myself stand out, I remember my first reel, which is a little, I don't know, wonky. It's just kind of like funny the way that but one of the things that I was really I had to make it I showed my face. I said, I'm Devon Dennis. I'm a video editor. That was like a light bulb moment that I was like, I was kind of excited, but again, kind of thinking that it wasn't Tuca Devon. It wasn't like this wonky thing and I don't have to show my face. It's this other, it's a totally different type of thing. But then like I figured out pretty quickly that like, no, it's good for me to show my face and to be personable.
Yep.
And to talk to people.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the bigger ones. And that's one thing I always struggle with too, is like on Instagram, I'm always trying to show like my work, but the people that are getting all the, the leads and all the everything, it's the ones who are sharing themselves. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I know that is absolutely the success story, because they're like, yeah, your work is great, but who are you as a person? Because you're going to be filming me or interacting with me, and I want to know kind of who you are so I can kind of trust you. And so, for me, I'm like, the only way I can show off myself is when I put a camera in front of myself and play a character. When I wave my arms and make a funny voice, like that's the only way I can show who I am. But when I'm just like, oh, hey, I'm Tony Wise, no, gross, hate it. Don't want to ever do it.
Well, hopefully this podcast will help you with that. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a vulnerability thing of being like, I got to open myself up. And, I've been trying to do like the behind the scenes thing. Sometimes people will film me at weddings because I have my camera and I'm dancing, while I'm filming people and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll go, what is he doing? And then I'm like, okay, just send that to me and that'll be my, this is who I am.
Yeah. That's plenty.
Perfect. That's what I really need to do.
I think
I got to hire someone just to follow me and film me so I don't have to, so I can just do my thing and go, oh, cool, that's authentic me. I don't have to look at the camera and tell people, look how cool I am. I'm selling myself.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky. It's tricky, but I think there's certain ways you can figure out ways of doing that, of like showing yourself off without doing cringy things that make you uncomfortable.
Right.
Like one of the things that not too long ago, maybe I would say maybe like a year, I started doing the stories of my timelines. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is the wonkiest, weirdest thing ever when I first did it. And then like people actually, I don't know, like I had a few people that were like, oh, cool, I want to see that. I want to see what that looks like.
Right?
Or like, I'm like, oh. All right,
yeah.
All right. And I don't have to like be in front of the camera and doing the whole thing. And
yeah, I did. Yeah, I actually did that. I just, because again, the 2025 backlog that I finally finished. So I finally have everything scheduled and I can finally look at all those little clips and kind of just post them as stories. And it's wild that the first story I posted in 5 months or however long I posted a story, suddenly I have people reaching out going, oh yeah, I have a, event coming up. Like, what are your rates? And like suddenly people are reaching out to me and it becomes this thing. And you're like, why am I not doing more of this? Apparently this is what people want to see. And so I don't know. It's like, it's funny because it's like my work is great. I just suck at all the other stuff. Good personality, good work. Won't ever share it.
Yeah, I think it's tricky. Like, I think it's easy to go down both ends of the spectrum. Like, I kind of like, actually the past couple months, I've kind of stepped away a little bit from social media. And I figured out that like the clients that I want, I don't want them scrolling Instagram.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing too, is you're trying to find, who do I want to work for, right? What do I want to, structure it as? And it's like, if to get the algorithm or find these people, I have to put a bunch of crazy flashy effects and like make it super, or do that. You know what I hate? If you do this, I hate you. But if those people who like, they show themselves first and they're kind of like going like this, and then they show their camera going like this, and then in like, 3 or 4 seconds, then they show the actual work. And I'm like, just show the work.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Well, it's like, it's just
I'm
more of a...
I'm pretty glad that I haven't seen that. No, I don't do that.
It's just a trendy thing. But like, yeah, people basically, they show themselves first, kind of like, look at my face and I'm pointing at you, or I'm pointing at this, or I'm putting a caption that says, don't do this, or something that's negative or whatever. And they're just, look at me. And then they show their work. And I hate that. I'm like, what?
There's a word I just actually, I found, rage.
Oh, rage bait.
Rage bait.
Yeah, that too. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm not trying to, I don't want to have controversial things. I'm just like, here's my art. That's it. But it works because people, I think, at the end of the day, they see the art and that's nice, but they want to see the person behind it. So I kind of hate it because I'm jealous that it's working for them. You know, they're showing themselves off, even if it's a little bit cringy or a little bit, you know, trendy or whatever. It is working for them. But on the same token, like we were just saying, I'm not really sure if those are the ones that I'm trying to hire. I'm looking for someone who's like, hey, I really watched your whole video and I, you know, saw that you were going for, I saw the story beats. I noticed, you know, those kind of extra little details you're putting in there. And it's not just, you know, great music or trendy music or whatever. I noticed it and that's what I want. So I passed by all the other people to get that. And then I'm like, okay, yes, that's exactly who I want to be filming, because I have gotten, you know, recommendations or referrals from people that just like, you know, oh, I know a guy and you can just book him, but they never really talked to me or saw my work. And then I go and do the, you know, the event for him. And I'm like, boy, there was a gap. Like I still made you something nice, but what a gap. And that was not the client I wanted to work for.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's tricky finding the balance, because I also think of things, I don't like, for me, as far as editing, as far as looking for clients to edit for, like I said, like I don't want to edit for people that are just scrolling reels, but I think it's tricky, like with a lot of other industries, or like even as a videographer, like I'm an editor mostly, almost 97%. But if it's tricky to find the balance to where like sometimes you need people that are scrolling real, like what one that comes to mind, actually the video that I just said that I made for myself that I was stoked about, it was kind of I kind of made it for my kinesiologist. He helped me out with my elbow. I got tendonitis from editing so much.
I'm kind of afraid I'm getting that now.
What?
I'm kind of afraid I'm getting that. I'm getting double carpal tunnel surgery.
Oh man, I got all kinds of exercises and things for you. I actually think I might make a podcast about all the things that I
might, because I'm like, yeah, because I gotta get the surgery, and then I'm like, oh, is my elbow going next? Fuck.
Oh man. Oh. So wait, all right, but let me go back to like before I lose my train of thought. When I first got into contact with him, I went through a bunch of different kinesiologists, and they like, there was one that was like a big company, and I saw their Instagram, and I was like, I don't like this. Like, this is just cringy. Like, it's just they have a big Instagram, they have a big following, and it's kind of like. And when I saw his, I was like, this guy works. Like, this guy doesn't spend his time like making the corny algorithm type of, what is it, these type of things.
Come here, look at this.
Like,
come here.
He clearly like works, and I'm like, I want this guy. But like, I also think now, also like that's the way I think, because I'm a video editor and because I think of things as the view of a producer, and like, is this person actually making money with what he's showing, or like what is his purpose behind this? But not everybody works that way, and sometimes I don't know. Like it's you got to have a really good understanding of what your target audience is and who's going to be buying from you, and what, because maybe the bride and the groom are just scrolling TikTok or scrolling reels, and that's how they're going to find you. And like, yeah, I think it's tricky figuring out and knowing where you want to point your
because
your business and your product.
You got to pick a lane, like, and I think that, you know, you can go wide, like, you know, obviously some of the companies that are like, hey, we make a pretty consistent thing, we don't really pick a lane, but we have like, you know, 7 or 8 different videographers and 20 different editors or whatever, and they kind of just cast a wide net and grab everybody no matter what they are, and they have, you know, sometimes mixed reviews because it doesn't quite work out. Or you pick a lane and say, I'm going to work for these specific kind of people, and I'm pretty much never going to get a bad review because it's pretty selective. The only problem being selective is make sure that you're making enough money with those selective people, or else what the hell are you doing? Yeah. I'm not going to work for you, but I also can't pay rent.
Yeah. Hey, wait. So real quick, I'm really curious. What's going on with your elbow and your?
Oh yeah. So I mean, without going into too much detail, I mean, I've you know, I used to game super hard. Like sometimes I just have those days where you're like, I'm, you know, depressed or anxious, and I'm just going to game for 12 hours straight. I also used to drink a shit ton of alcohol. So if you're drinking a lot and you're playing video games all day, and you're also an editor, and I also play the piano, and basically everything I do is just with my hands. So you do that
Yeah.
for a long period of time and stay unhealthy and don't do those things. I used to do, yoga and some of the things that kind of help make it not super terrible. But over the
Uh-huh.
last, couple years, right, I got extra stressed, work got higher, the whole farmhouse thing happened. And so basically it got to the point where regular carpal tunnel, just like, oh, I'm working for, an hour and a half and it hurts. Now it's like, oh shit, my three fingers are permanently numb, you know? So then when I was like, and it wasn't going away, even with all the stretches and the splints and everything. So I was like, fuck, we're finally at that point. So I had to go in and do the tests, and they were like, yeah, you're at about the right stage. Like, this is just past the point of like, you're probably not gonna be able to fix it on your own. So we'll take care of that for you, and then just, have to recover. So it's really just, it's kind of my fault. I didn't do, the last couple of years, I didn't do enough to help it.
Well, how long has it been going on?
Probably started, I'd say maybe 5 years ago, but it was manageable. But yeah, just the last 2 years, it basically went to shit.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any kind of exercises that you are doing?
No, I have not. No, I mean, after that, like I said, the whole farmhouse thing was, I keep alluding to it, but that pretty much destroyed every part of me for a year. And so that's what really pushed it past. That's what happened. It was near the end of it. I noticed it going numb, and I was like, why is it going numb? Why does it hurt so bad? And it was so bad that my three fingers were just permanently numb, the whole finger. And then I started.
Oh, these three are carpal tunnel?
Yeah, these three.
Okay, because I get the other two. If I'm climbing a lot, I'll wake up and these ones are cramping up. And I've had a few. What are they called? Like bones.
Osteoporosis.
No, the ones who like I have another, not a kinesiologist, but a woman who she's like, I joke that she's like a witch doctor because she just she watches you walk up the stairs and goes like, she figures out everything that's going on, and like, but I've had a few people look at what's going on with my wrists and stuff, and they said it's not carpal tunnel. The elbow was like a totally different. That was a different thing.
Well, you're probably in a better place because you're climbing, so you're engaging everything. Like that's got to be. I mean,
yeah. Well, the same thing. I like everything that I do is had the elbow. I started running, which I always enjoyed running. Like I've got runners in my family, so I kind of like I guess it's maybe in my blood. But I never like I'd much rather be climbing. There's a lot of other things that I'd rather be doing. But that was like the one thing that I was able to start doing because everything I do, editing, climbing, I play guitar, yoga, like everything uses the elbow. Yeah. And so when it was really bad, I was like losing my mind. I'm like, what can I do other than do nothing and watch Netflix?
And that's what's going to happen for the next month for me is that basically the first like 3 days you just can't do shit. And then after that, you can't really lift anything, but maybe you can push a button. But I'm basically useless. So like I can't open the fridge. I can't open up, anything. I can't open a door. So I'm stuck. Like if no one opens the door for me, I'm just stuck inside. Or I'm stuck outside. Can't do anything. So I'm like, wow. I mean, it's a good thing I'm a film guy because I'll just watch films all day, every day. But it's going to be a little weird.
You can hold a stabilizer, right?
Like my first wedding, I think, is in like June. And I'm like, God, I really hope that it recovers by that time. Because they say that like, you're going to be weaker and holding that is going to probably hurt a little bit. But I'm just like, well, I'm just going to drink water, eat healthy foods, and do nothing for basically a month. This is the only month I got before everything starts up again. So, I mean, I've heard that it's a super easy procedure and it's, like super high success rate. But it's mostly just wow, I can't do anything for that amount of time. That's kind of annoying.
All right. Well, if you want any exercises, let me know. I've got lots.
I'm sure they'll give me some stuff. I'm sure research. I'm sure I'll ask people because if once you get it done, they're like, hey, you really need to do the physical therapy because it'll come back if you fuck it up. Like if you immediately just go back to pulling stuff, it'll just regrow back to the scar tissue and you'll be right back to where you were. So if you do it right, you'll be fine. At least for 20, 30 years. But that's where I'm like, okay. Don't rush it, right? Once you get your fingers back, don't just start going, all right, time to edit for 3 hours straight.
Yeah. Well, I will say one thing, like, not necessarily for you, just because I'm on the podcast right now. I like one of the things that I swear. Yeah, you take it as you want. But one of the things that I swear by I've sworn by for the past couple of years for like I've realized even shoulder, like any of this, if it's injured, I have a rice bucket, and I have one at my mom's house too. Like I have like probably had a rice bucket for probably almost 10 years now, and a rice bucket, and there's like different exercises that you can do in the rice. And for me, like it helps because you get climber like the finger injuries when you're climbing is like they're really tricky, and there's like climbing is so specific, and to tell to some kind of doctor that you have like you have a pulley injury, it's like they don't know. I have there's a climbing training book, and the author said going to a doctor with your pulley injury is like taking your iPad to a mechanic. Like they're not gonna know anything. But I just the rice bucket has helped me with so many different things, and it also like it just feels good.
Is it?
It's just
Are you literally
for the brain as well? It's just nice to like stick your hand in some rice.
Is that it? What is it?
So you squeeze this way. You do extensors. You try to break the rice. Mm-hmm. You pull like lever the rice. And then you do wrists. You do circles and no and yes. And you put like I put a timer and I go 30 seconds each one.
Yep.
And you get pumped in your forearms, but like it helps just so many different things. And like I said, it feels nice. I actually funny story, not that related. I just went to Chile like 3 weeks ago. And crossing the border, I showed up at my buddy's. We were 4 of us in the car, and they wanted to climb and film at night, and they were like, everybody bring your lights to film at night. And I was like, guys, like I brought the lights, but can I please bring my bucket of rice? Like this bucket of rice is gonna make me as happy as the lights are gonna make you happy. And I got to the border, and they searched through everything. It's like I'm assuming it's similar to I've never gone across the Canada border, but like you can't bring food or anything, and so they're searching through everything. And they get to the bucket of rice, and they're like he's like looking through it, and I'm thinking he's like looking for drugs or something at the bottom of this bucket of rice. And he's like, how long have you had the rice? And I'm like, a year. And like I lied, it's probably like 2 or 3 years I've had that specific rice. But like I was just caught off guard, and I tried lying about it. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna have to dump this because it's got like some kind of organic, I don't know if it had like some kind of fungi or something in it. He's like, you got to dump it. And at the time I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll dump it. Like, just let us go across the border. It's rice. I'll get more rice. And I as I got to the trash can, rice. I was like, I've spent a lot of time with this rice that I'm throwing out.
Help me. See, I was half expecting you to say that he was going to reach into the rice and go, oh, this actually feels really good.
Yeah. I should have. He asked what it was for, and my buddy explained to him while I was just standing there like, please.
I'm not sure you're going to believe me if I tell you. Promise.
Yeah, actually there was 2, and the guy was looking through, and he was like sifting around, and we like when we explained to him what it was, she's like, it's for what you're doing right now. It's for moving it around and like...
I wouldn't believe it. I'd be like, there's drugs in this rice for sure. These guys are crazy.
Yeah,
what are they talking about? Rice bucket.
So I have new Chilean rice now. They let me back in with my Chilean rice.
Precious rice.
Fresh new rice.
Would have never guessed. But now I'm gonna look it up and be like, is there some truth to this? Some rice?
Just like I don't know. I look up a lot of things, but I also am a big fan of trying things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
like because figuring out what works for you.
There's the tried and true, like, oh, this is the one to do, but there's also like, hey, kind of like there's like farm strength, right? Where like you're doing all the stuff on the farm. Like you don't have to go to the gym because you're using every single muscle on your body to do farm work, whether you're lifting this or chopping wood or painting something up here or, whatever it is. So it's like, there's your gym and your whole body's going to get worked out, So it's like, you can do the tried and true, typical, whatever, do your curls, or you can, lift up that log, right?
Yeah.
Holistic stuff. I should probably go, but do you have like
Yeah, me too.
a closing out thing, you know, a like and subscribe and you know, all that stuff?
No, well, no, we already dropped your social medias and your website and everything, but this has been awesome and not nearly. I think it happens sometimes with the podcast that like it's definitely not the direction that I thought it was gonna go down, but I'm really stoked that it didn't.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. You never,
like I still feel like I have so many questions and so many. So we didn't even talk about the farmhouse.
Yeah, well,
I was really curious.
I mean, hey, there's always. I'm leaving that for episode 2. If you ever want to do that.
All right, you know, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm game.
But yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, you never know when it comes to a podcast. Like, how's it going to go? What's the flow going to be? So you're just like, well, I guess I'll show up and then just hope for the best and not make an excuse to leave after 20 minutes.
I think this is the calmest I've been before the podcast, because usually I have a bunch of questions that I didn't ask any of these questions.
It's like we just got and had this.
But it was the first time that I was like, I think I've done enough of these that like, I think we can pull it off, and I think we're good. And we got at least another podcast worth of.
Sure. Okay. Next time we'll keep it. We'll find the more like, hey, heavy hitter questions. What are your hopes and dreams? What are your greatest fears? And instead of talking about the weather.
Yeah. And then the one after that, you know what? We'll do it in October after you watch the whole World Surf League tour with me.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then we could have a whole surfing episode.
Let's talk about the hang 10, bro. Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
it's been awesome.
Thanks for having me on. I can't wait to be famous after this.